This is my response to session 18, question set 3 from Heather, questions 4 through 5 regarding HR 1462. So, question 4, how many and which of these myths have you been misled to believe? I would say almost none. None of those myths really surprised me at all. And as I've mentioned in some other videos, I work for the state legislature, and my boss served on a Common Core study council, and I'm pretty well informed on the Common Core, mission and initiatives. I wasn't really surprised by some of the myths, and I'd heard a majority of them before. And question 5, do you support or oppose Common Core initiatives, and why? Or rather, what are the pros and cons of Common Core initiatives? I support Common Core, even though it's kind of a dying thing, because I think the main point that's kind of missed with Common Core is that it's a minimum, it's a floor. Anything you want to teach on top of it, go ahead, but you need to meet these requirements, and I think that's good, especially when we're talking about educating our kids, which a lot of people don't think about as being our future workforce and our future economy. So we want our kids to be smart, and the Common Core is simply a floor. It's not dumbing down anything, it's not making anything more confusing. And I think people are just resistant to change. I think that you see all these viral posts about weird Common Core math problems, and not all of them are true, but sometimes they are. And I think we need to get over the fact that our school system is still teaching things the way that they were taught. Oftentimes a century ago. Sometimes there are better ways. We have more science to understand how the human brain works, and there are different methods to teaching than what our parents are used to. The baby boomers, they seem to control everything still these days, and they want everything their way and how it was back in the day. But guess what? It's not 1960 anymore. There are new ways of doing things, and I think people just kind of fear change, and Common Core, this may seem like a partisan thing, but I think a lot of people forget that Common Core was established by the National Governors Association, and was predominantly Republican. And they were the ones who instituted it, but all of a sudden the Republicans are the ones that are opposing it. So I think that, and they make up all these myths saying it's either dumbing people down or it's corrupting our kids, or I don't know. There's so many arguments against it that aren't true. But I think that the pro is definitely that it gives a consistent base of knowledge that our kids in our country are going to have to be compliant. And in terms of cons, I don't see a ton. I think what the cons are is that once you implement deep education policy, you need to give it time to work. And they clearly didn't do that. So I would say, they wasted a lot of time trying to implement this thing, and they immediately changed their minds about it. And now it's, causing a disruption of educator consistency. I've heard from a lot of education advocates around the state, a lot of stakeholders, and they say, a lot of times they're adaptable and they can work in whatever parameters, but you need to give them consistency to get results. And so I think, the only cons have been that it hasn't been consistent enough to work because, the powers that be won't let it. So yeah, I would say that I supported the Common Core initiatives, and definitely oppose school choice, even though that wasn't mentioned, but there it is.